Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. Phil Perry's alongside. It's Thanksgiving week. Plenty to be thankful for on and off the gridiron. Before we launch into a discussion of where the Patriots need to patch their little storm-tossed ship after Sunday, let's do a reality check. They are 10-2. 10-2. They won 12 games from 2022 to 2024. 12. They lost 39. They were 12-39. Right now they're 10-2. Moreover, with the Colts losing, Patriots are now alone atop the conference standings ahead of those pesky Denver Broncos. Take a look. But a narrow win against an awful team, couple injuries, and now people are acting at the beginning of this week like Christmas is getting canceled. What about my 14-win team? What about my Super Bowl trip? I was supposed to get a Lexus with a big bow on top for Christmas, and now maybe I won't. You know what? 3 months ago, everybody would have been happy with a bike. Okay? I said it before, the Patriots are almost victims of their offseason improvements. Remember in August when Greg Bedard, Boston Sports Journal, dropped his predicted win total from 11 to 8? They were heading for the lifeboats on Felger and Maz. Take a listen.
I would be around 8 or 9 wins for the Patriots.
Bedard bomb. The Patriots somehow got double promoted, and they never got to be the plucky feel-good team that exceeds expectations. The expectations are already up here. Greg drops his win total from 10 or 11 to 8 or 9, and people are going, well, what happened to this team? I don't necessarily disagree with 8 or 9 wins, but 11 wins is almost 3 times what they had last year. It's kind of sucky when you don't get to be plucky. You can consume your sports however you like. For me, I have been wildly entertained so far. It's gravy at this point. Thanksgiving reference. I don't expect them to lose their next 3 games. They got the Giants, they got the Ravens, they got the Bills, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. Just like it didn't surprise me when they lost to Cincy. Into each season, a little rain must fall. You've had a cornucopia of good times so far. With that, I bring in my friend, Phil Perry.
Another great Thanksgiving reference by you,
Phil
cornucopia
Perry?
man.
Oh, thank you.
No. And I'm thankful for you, as a matter of fact. And you're right. This is a good time for us to have a little bit of perspective, Tom. What did we all say before the season began? Almost universally, that it would be a successful season if they were in that little in the hunt graphic that's usually all the way to the right of the screen anytime you see it on any of our networks, including our own. They're not only in the hunt, they're not only among the wild card teams, they are leading the conference at 10-2 right now. And so I think it's important for us to remember that, because after a game like that one in Cincinnati, there is still plenty for them to fix and for us to critique, and all of that
100%.
All of that is fair.
Fair game.
But big picture, what a season.
Yeah, don't be losing your minds if things go a little bit south and say that this guy's got to go and that guy's got to go, and you knew it was going to come, the bottom was going to fall out at some point. Quick Thanksgiving trivia question. We ask Phil, he'll answer at the end of the program. What offense was inspired by Thanksgiving? We'll get you the answer later. Phil, let's get into the real stuff now. Talk injuries for a moment. Will Campbell and MCL reported by Rap Sheet. Also, Jared Wilson, a high ankle sprain. Campbell, as Mike Vrabel says, will not be seen next week. Could be a few weeks. Wilson, sounds like it's week to week. Tonga, Schooler, Milton Williams is obviously going to be out through Baltimore. What's your concern level about those spots right now?
I think you should be concerned if you're going to be going several weeks without either or and Will Campbell / Jared Wilson. I really do think there is a level of concern there, because this is an imbalanced offensive attack right now. And I'm not sure you become better in the run game, which is where they have really struggled, And we know what the goal line struggles were on Sunday.
Oh, wait till you hear the numbers. I'm going to lay them out even better today.
I can't wait. When you get the calculator out, that's one of my favorite parts of every week. And the fact that we get to do it multiple times this week is even more exciting for me. But the run game being what it is, to me, doesn't get better with backups. And the run game is important not just because of what the run game can give you in a vacuum. It's important because it protects your quarterback. When you start to play in these important games down the stretch here, Tom, I don't know if you can waste plays running it into the middle of the line for 1 or 2 yards, whether you're on the goal line or anywhere else. And so you don't want to be in a place, in my opinion, where you're dropping Drake May back to pass 40 times against the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs during a home playoff game or any other sort of situation. So that, to me, would be the concern. Can they get by? Can they win games without those guys? Yes. But I do worry about the run game.
That's the one thing people often forget, sports writers too. You don't go from Will Campbell, who we would say at the Patriots, he's 100% for the Patriots. Okay, that's your 100. You don't have Jonathan Ogden there, but you have Will Campbell, so he's your 100. Vidarian Lowe isn't 0.
Right.
Vidarian Lowe might be around 75, 80. I think that's fair. He's going to have plenty of capable plays, and we saw a few on Sunday. Same thing with Ben Brown, veteran player, stepping in for Jared Wilson. It's those 15% of plays where they're less than how much chaos visits on the Patriots. They don't have an identity yet, whether it be in short yardage or the red zone. Here's Mike Vrabel talking about some of the red zone stuff that they had going on Sunday.
There's a million things I could say right there, Courtney, but I'm going to try to say that it has to be better. And again, when we get out of with the injuries, we were out of goal line. There were some things that did us there. And then at the end of the day, you have to be able to move somebody into the end zone. You have to be able to score with your man. And that's really what happens. And we have to be better. We have to be able to convert those into touchdowns.
All right, let's go, Phil, deep on these numbers. First, the red zone stats. Offensively and defensively, they stink. Touchdowns inside the 20. They're scoring touchdowns 54.8% of the time, 20th in the league. Touchdowns inside the 10, just 65.4% of the time. If you have first and goal inside the 10, that's 25th in the league. Defensively, opponent gets inside the 20, they're scoring a touchdown 73% of the time. That's the worst in the league. And inside their 10, they're scoring every time. I don't know exactly how many goal-to-go situations there have been, but they're 31st, so I'm guessing they're tied. Do they have the personnel, Phil, offensively, to be a good goal line team? I mean, I heard a lot of caterwauling, and I think it was fantasy-based, about Travion Henderson not getting the ball down on the goal line. And I saw it on social media, so, shame on me. But why isn't Henderson getting the ball down there? And I'm like, I think this probably has people in touchdowns for Travion. But do they have the personnel to be a goal line success story?
They do against the Bengals when given 7 opportunities at the goal line. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, they should have had enough.
They should have had enough to put it in there on at least one of those occasions. But in general, I do think they're lacking. And I think it's both in the trenches and on the outside. To me, the best red zone offenses are ones that can be creative, because I do think you have to be somewhat creative at times when you're outnumbered in the box, or when you feel like you just don't maybe have the personnel against another team's secondary on the outside. I'm not sure the Patriots have either one right now. And I just look at their overall run game, because again, no matter where they're running it right now, Tom, they're very inefficient. So the offensive line, I think, is lacking there. They don't have the power, it seems,
body movers
to be able to just grind out a yard there where you need it. And then on the outside, how many times did we watch Tom Brady just kind of flick it up to Rob Gronkowski because he was 6'6" and 260 pounds and could go up and get the football? We saw it a few weeks ago when Atlanta was here.
Isn't there a damn pop pass in this offense?
Drake London, they don't have that guy. Stephon Diggs, I've said this all year. Stephon Diggs is their number one. I don't think he is a true, by definition of the term, number one receiver, because that to me means you can put him anywhere and he will win in any situation. I don't think they view him that way. Because if they did, you would have seen him get one of those targets in the red zone.
I mean, it's been a labor. Even when they've gotten in and putting some lipstick on that particular goal line pig, it's been hard. 4th and goal, the toe tap touchdown to Stephon Diggs. Without an incredible throw, an incredible toe tap, you're not going to get that touchdown. That was against Tampa. But this actually...
Great reference, by the way. That was a number one receiver kind of play by him to go up and go get that one.
It was so friggin' hard for them to get in, and that was all 4th and goal. Look at Pittsburgh, the picks that Drake May threw on the goal line. They just don't have an identity down there, and it's because, quite plainly, they're not a good running team. They're not good at running the football. They're going to get your 4s and 5s. Once in a while, you're going to get an 11. That's not evidence of being a good running team. You know what evidence is of being a good running team? Being able to, on 3rd down, pick up first downs. Check out this full screen. 3rd and 1 runs. The Patriots have had 15 3rd and 1 runs. They've converted 8 of them. That's 53.3. 3rd and 2 or less passes. Okay? So they're not really a great 3rd and short team, period, is what I'm making the point. They've had 9 plays, 4 first downs, so 44% conversions. Overall, they're 50% converting on those plays. Now look at this. 3rd and 11 to 15-yard, and there's a pass plays on that, which is virtually all of them. They've had 22 of those occasions, second most in the NFL. 274 yards, as I told you on Sunday, 9 first downs. 40.9. So 3rd and 11 to 15, if you throw it, you're at 40%. 3rd and 1 or 2, you're at 50%. That's not what you're looking for. Meanwhile, on 3rd and 10 throws, there were only 5 of them. They've converted 4. So they're 13 for 27 on 3rd to 10 to 15. 48% conversions. And that's throwing the ball. Their quarterback is so far and away carrying a D running game to a 10-2 record that we've whistled past the graveyard on their red zone ineptitude and their run game travails. Everyone was giddy that there was some production from Travion Henderson, and that was fun. Nice kid. He's going to be exciting. Had a great summer. He had 110 yards on 2 carries. Other than that, it was the same old smash your head into the wall. They're just not good at it. So the question becomes, okay, great observation, Nose. That's the stuff that should worry you. Do you think their 3rd and short ineptitude will be fixed against good teams? Do you think there is more in their quiver that they can pull out and shoot at opponents?
Yeah, I wonder if you start to see a little bit more of the designed quarterback run game. That's something that we haven't seen a lot of. My guess is because they're trying to limit hits on their young quarterback. But that would be the kind of thing where, again, you're just trying to get more on to even footing with the defense. And you're giving them a threat that they don't otherwise have to think about. And so that's something that I wonder if they'll decide to use that, whether it's in short yardage in the middle of the field or it's at the goal line. And guys like Josh Allen, Cam Newton, when he was at his best, those guys were weapons down inside the 5. I mean, it's automatic when you have a running quarterback like that. And Drake May is not quite those guys in terms of his size, but he's physical enough and he's athletic enough to be able to do some of that stuff. And I wonder if they did actually try it on one of those goal line plays against the Bengals, and for whatever reason, and he read it the way he read it, and it ended up not working out for them. But that's one thing I could see them trying to do, Tom. I also wonder if they'll just try to run outside the tackles a little bit more. I found a really interesting set of numbers according to Next Gen Stats. They are the second worst team in football in terms of success rate, running inside the tackles. So running, off guard, off center.
And that used to be their, with Stevenson, that used to be their calling card.
Second worst in the league. When they run outside the tackles, their success rate is actually 10th best in the league. There's not many categories when it comes to the run game where you're going to find the Patriots in the top 10. That might be the one. But that might be something that Josh McDaniels has noticed as well, and they get to the stretch run here and they say, okay, we've tried to be an inside running team. We love what it means. We love what it projects in terms of toughness, and we even love what it does schematically for us in terms of the kinds of play action passes we can throw off those inside runs. But if we can't do anything with those inside runs consistently, then let's just start trying to get into space, maybe using Henderson a little bit more and seeing if we can make some of those play action plays work off of those.
Swear to God, counterintuitive, but have people lay down at the 6-yard line so that you have first and goal at the 6 instead of first and goal at the 1.
Stop.
He's the best deep passer on the planet. He needs room to operate.
So it's got to be like, who was that? Ahmad Bradshaw in the Super Bowl against the Patriots where he tried to sit down. He actually did, and he still fell into the end zone. But you've got to do that once you get to the 10 if you're the Patriots, apparently.
Yes,
okay.
Please. Here's Drake May from after the game because he didn't look that great at the beginning. Explain yourself, Drake.
Drake, it seemed like a sense of pressure from the secondary at you today. Was that at all surprising to see them put you a little bit like that?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think they had they had some good stuff that I didn't do the right thing and didn't give us in the right look. So I got to be better. Got to be better at the line of scrimmage. Got to be better. Credit to them for catching us some. And like I said, I think I had to do my part and help us play cleaner football and punched it down there in the red zone. And I take that to heart, and I'm gonna be better.
Did you feel like the ball was coming out differently on some of the misses earlier in the game?
Not that I can think of. Sometimes just not trusting it and just gotta let it go. That's when I'm throwing it best and on time and feeling the best. So I know I wasn't very accurate early on and found a groove and just head back to the basics.
Phil, put a bow on May's day, please.
Boy, early it was really rough, which he acknowledged. But Tom, that bounce back factor that we've talked about with him in the past is really there, and it was there for us to see on Sunday. And I don't want the good to get fully washed away with what was a truly bad first quarter, but he had 116 quarterback rating the rest of the game after those first 8 attempts. Well over 200 yards passing, 10 yards per attempt after his first 8 attempts of the game. That's MVP level quarterback play. That's sort of what he was the rest of the way. And so I give him a lot of credit for being able to rebound the way he did.
He be dealing. We're going to take a quick break. You know what? I want your answer now. What is the Thanksgiving-inspired offense?
So I've actually been thinking about this the entire program to this point.
Which is disappointing.
When you've been talking. Yeah, I haven't heard a single word you've said. It has to be the wishbone.
All right, we're going to go to a break. We'll be back in just a minute. We're going to talk a little bit about the defense. We're going to give you some 3-ups and 3-downs. Yeah, we're plagiarizing from every other podcast on the planet. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Take a look at this. These are the Patriots' main competition. First for the number 1 seed, secondarily for the AFC East title. Patriots' remaining schedule, you see it right there. Nobody's a cupcake. Not when you're missing half your defensive line and the left side of your offensive line. Let's see the Broncos. They have some chores ahead of them. Colts really have some chores ahead of them. And the Bills, they have the Eagles late. But right now, Phil, you can throw a blanket over the entire National Football League and say, hey, who's good and who isn't? Can the Patriots get this number 1 seed in the barn?
It really feels like outside of the Rams, it does feel that way. I mean, every team has flaws. They can get the number 1 seed. They can, because of some of the things that some of their opponents are facing schedule-wise. But even with, Tom, these injuries that have now started to pile up on them, we'll both be picking them to win on Monday Night Football against the Giants. That would be 11-2. Even if they were to split with the Bills and lose at home, which I don't think is a guarantee. Even if they were to lose to Baltimore, Tom, could you see them losing to the Jets and Dolphins? I could see it, but will you pick it? No, you won't. I'm going to answer for you. You're not going to pick them to lose to the Jets and Dolphins. So you're talking about maybe a 13-win team here, and I think that might be enough for the number 1 seed. I do.
Going to interject, Phil, and answer at the end. What key can't open any door? We'll get you the answer at the end. I don't know what my biggest concern is, and I think that this Patriots season is not built on sand, but it is not built on a sturdy foundation where you can say, this is what we are and this is what we're going to rely upon week after week after week. Because what they're relying upon in many cases are somewhat intangibles or hard to bet on aspects of football. Like, as I pointed out earlier, to be 50% on 3rd to 11 or 15 and have 30 plays of that general group. That's a lot of friggin' plays. If you're going to convert third downs 30 times in 12 games between 11 and 15 yards, I would have to go back to the game books, and I'm not gonna, to see how many times those resulted in scoring drives. But you cannot count on that type of thing. What you need to count on is a steady running game, the ability to pick up third and short, not third and 11 to 15. I want to be picking up third and 4 or less on a regular basis, not third and freaking 15. I mean, get the ball to Brooks at that point. I mean, I know he's saving their bacon. Drake is. Brooks Barringer. It's Bryce, Tom. Do you cover this team? Do you cover this team or do you not cover the team?
It's like Koepka? What?
So I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the intangibles of schedule that they have feasted on. I'm worried about sometimes the chunk plays. And as we talk about chunk plays, I want you to talk to me about whether or not the Patriots have a good run defense or one that has just been the byproduct of some of the teams they played. It's not a coincidence that they held so many lead backs under 50 yards until Sunday. But I still don't look at them and say, my God, who wants to run on these guys?
Well, especially with Kairos Tonga out. I mean, they gave up Tom almost 6 yards a carry against the Cincinnati Bengals. And how about that one play? It could have been a game-changing, outcome-changing kind of sequence where the Patriots kick a field goal near the end of the first half, but they give the ball back to Cincinnati, and they just allow back-to-back plays, 21 yards to Chase Brown for no good reason, and then a 16-yard pass play to T. Higgins, who's a great player, but I thought they actually had that thing pretty well defended with Jalen Hawkins sort of right where he needed to be, but just maybe a hair early, and they end up picking up the necessary yard, 63-yard field goal. That's incredibly impressive, but they end up, kicking a field goal. So you're asking me about the run defense. I do think that's an issue because it's not just with Kairos Tonga and Milton Williams out that this has been a problem. This is now 3 weeks in a row, Tom. They're allowing 5 yards or more per carry.
And Mike Vrabel, cognizant of that, he was asked about it on Monday. Here was his answer.
Yeah, I mean, you get build wall and set edges and, not let easy yardage, off the edge on the first play. Just, again, it's about building the wall, setting the edge, and swarm tackling. And they pushed a couple piles on us, or they, had a couple runs in there, and, just have to make sure that we're not giving them the easy ones and we're making them earn everything that they get. And sometimes we didn't do that, and sometimes we had some, when we trigger and we build a wall with no gain.
It is interesting because they've been really good statistically. And you can't take that away from them because they've been they're not overpowering, but they're fast to the ball. They swarm. They finish. They don't miss tackles. If you're a Patriots fan, I'm knocking on wood for you. But they're not a stone wall, as Mike kind of alluded to.
No, they're not. And our friend Dan Orlovsky has pointed this out over the course of the last couple of weeks with the Patriots. They love to play nickel defense.
Yes.
Lots of lighter bodies on the field. And I wonder if that is in any way contributing to the numbers that they've allowed on the ground. Do they have to be willing to put an extra linebacker on the field, whether it's Spillane with Ellis and Gibbons and Marte Mapu, and try to kind of bow up against opposing rushing offenses?
All right. Well, they're going to have to worry about that next week with Saquon Barkley and the Giants. Just trying them. I joke. Okay, 3 up, 3 down. We hear it on Felger and Maz. We hear it on everything. We're going to instead do, hey, nice job, and not what you're looking for. From Sunday, who do you give a, hey, nice job to?
Hunter Henry.
Carlton Davis.
Marcus Jones.
Andy Borregales.
Drake May after his first 8 throws.
Fair enough. Who do you say, that's not what you're looking for?
Kayvon Chason? How about that jumping off sides?
Fair.
You?
It's on you. I don't want to be critical.
Wow. You're going to completely take a pass? Unbelievable. Goal line offense.
Will Campbell getting hurt.
Team health overall. Sure. Brendan Schooler. Kairos Tonga.
That's not what you're looking for.
I'm
not criticizing.
No, it's not what you're looking for, though.
It's not what you're looking for. All right. Well, we're going to put a cork in this thing because it's almost over. We got to get the TV show out, and it's important to get this last question out as well. What kind of key cannot unlock a door?
So this is a tough one, and I don't think it's the right answer because it doesn't really fit with your question, but I'm going to say the key of G,
Nope.
F sharp.
Okay, enough.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like a musical key.
No, Phil,
Sorry.
it's a turkey. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.